All right, hey card fam. So today I'm going to be doing my eBay week 3 of February sales, or actually week 4, I'm sorry. So this is a continuation of my plan for getting rid of 5,000 cards. I'm going to do these 3 cards here. It's a Dirk Auto out of 50, it's a case hit John Morant, and a Angel Reese out of 299. So if these cards don't interest you, I mean, clearly it's all 3 are basketball. Then there's some other videos that you can watch where I sell other cards like baseball and football. But these are all slabs. These were all buy it now or best offer. These were not auctions. And so I thought maybe I would share what happened and my thought process in selling these to maybe help you out and maybe help you figure out when to so to speak, pull the trigger on an offer or a deal. So this card, I'll start with this one. This card, I put a buy it now of $90 or best offer. I don't know why. I mean, I know why. I think I was trying to time the WNBA market, but I refused offers in the past of $75 for this card. I don't have the information in front of me, but I'll try to put it on the left here as to how much it is raw. But I got this in a trade on a my card post, and so I don't know exactly how much I'm into this card for. Let's say it's about like $10 to $20 at most. And then grading was I self-graded it myself, so I add another 20. I'm into the card for like $30 to $40, and I brought this over to some shows. Some people had offers of 75, so I thought for some reason I could get more. But as soon as someone yesterday offered me 75 for this card, I was like, you know what, it's time for me to say goodbye to this card. It is, at the time I put up the listing, I put it up as a pop 17. Again, I can maybe update it here, but I'm trying to do less editing just because it's just so much sometimes. But as soon as I got the offer, I didn't like snap decide yes, but I knew that I was going to accept it. I mean, a little bit part of me was like, should I counter? Should I, what am I going to go to, like 85? Out of a $90 or best offer, I feel like 75 was pretty reasonable. I forget how many watches I had in this card, but I'm glad to get it out to the individual. The PSA 10 multiplier was definitely more than 2x, and so I'm happy for this card to get to the individual. Part of me was like, well, should I time it for the WNBA season to start and all the hype? But I was like, you know what? It's just time for me to say goodbye to this card. Um, the second card and the third card is going to actually have the biggest story and maybe a little bit of drama, so to speak. But the second card is a 2023 NBA Hoops Presentations case hit John Morant. And I got this from a card friend. I purchased it at a trade night. I think I bought it in a lot with other cards. And so I can't remember whether I bought the lot for 50 or I bought just this card for 50. I might have just bought this card for 50. So I graded it again myself, and I'm glad I got a 10. Shout out to Ethan. I've mentioned him in the content before, but oh, I totally forgot to do this with the Angel Race. I'm so sorry. I like to do this with my eBay sales, right? So it's basically showing the subtotal 75, shipping 450, sales tax $6.86, minus at the sales tax on the other side, transaction fees of $10.70, shipping label $3.98 for an order earnings of $64.82 for a card that I have about $40 into at most. I think that's again, you just take the profits and you move on. All right, so now let's get back to the John Morant. So I bought this card for about $50, graded it myself, so that's $70 in. For some reason, I really thought that I could get this card a little bit more than double what the raw was. So I was so surprised. John Morant, he's having a decent year, but for some reason his card prices aren't really appreciating, and so I put it's really interesting. So this card, I had offers of like 45, 70. Again, why would I sell this card for $45? Same as raw, it doesn't make sense. I think it was a huge low ball. Someone did 70, someone did 80, and then someone offered $90 on this card. And I was like, you know what, I really, from a psychological standpoint, I really want to get to double comps of raw for a PSA 10. So I said, you know what, maybe I'm not going to get the full 100. Let me go down to 95. Can this potential buyer, meet me at 95? They said no. And I was like, you know what? It just wasn't meant to be for that person. So I actually relisted this back up from 100 to 120 because I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let this card sit, maybe to the end of the NBA season. Maybe Ja does something amazing, another dunk, something flashy, because he definitely has a market. That said, I put up for 120. Someone gave me an offer for 110. This was one where I almost instantly decided to accept yes on because I didn't want them to retract their bid. But you know what? It is definitely one of the higher comps, but it's within the range of, again, just hair above the 2x raw comps for PSA 10. So again, subtotal 110, shipping 450. No sales tax on this, likely because the individual is in a state. Let me see, where am I sending this out to? It's either a Portland, Oregon. So I think this might be a vault. Selling cost, the transaction fees, $15.94. Shipping label, $4.51 for an order earnings of $94.05. So I almost doubled my money on this card, including the not including the grading fee. I'm sorry, with the grading fee, I eke out maybe like a $20 profit. So I'm okay with that. Thank you, Ethan, for a very nice card, and I'm glad to get this out to the buyer as well. Oh man, this card. Let's get to this card. So this I bought this raw in a it was like an international seller. It might have been Korea, it could have been China, but I think it was Korea. I'll have to remember to look how much I bought it for. I think I bought it for around $100. I graded it, hoping it could get a 10. It didn't get a 10, it got a 9. But the interesting thing about this card is, so this is a 2016 Panini Totally Certified. It is out of 50 right there. It's out of 50, but it is a pop one, none higher. I hope I'm right because I don't have the information in front of me as I'm recording this. But I think this is a pop one, none higher, which I'm really surprised about for a card that's been out for almost 10 years, for no one to have graded it, 50 copies of this, for no one to get a PSA 10 or even a PSA 9. I'm really surprised because I'm sure this got submitted more than once by me. But it is a sticker auto, but I do love Dirk, how he puts the 41. It's a very loopy auto. I am going to miss this card, but I did think that it was going to be time for me to sell it. I put this up for 229, I believe, was my initial. Again, I was trying to kind of go a little bit above double comps. Not that it's a PSA 10, but because, yeah, I put it up for $219.99 plus $4.50 shipping. So I wanted to capture something in the upper 100s on this card, as a negotiated or best offer. I put it up on Veriswap. I had some interest. I put up on my card post. I had some interest. So let me tell you how much I ended up making on this card, and then I'm going to get to maybe something that doesn't need to be added to this video, but I do want to. The reason I'm doing it is for education because, ladies and gentlemen, there is an art to not making a deal. You have to be okay with people saying no to you. I mean, some people just can't do it in this hobby for some reason. But let's get to the value, and then let's get to the DMs because wow, they get a little spicy. $199 shipping, $4.50. Again, no taxes on this. This one's going to Oregon as well. Not to the same buyer. Not to the same buyer. Three different packages. $203.50. Transaction fees of $24.67. Shipping label $4.51 for an order earnings of $174.32. So again, if I'm into this card for about 100 plus 20 for grading, 120, made $50 on this card after fees and all that, I'm pretty happy with that. I'll take it. So what I'm about to show you, it's going to be either here on the left or the right, or I'll figure out how to present this upon editing. But I got an offer from someone who was like, I really want the Dirk. They wanted a Luka auto as well, but they were like, I really want this card. Sent me an offer. I thought it was not. I don't think it was a low ball. It also wasn't a decent fair offer. It was like kind of in between the two, but it was sent through my card post. I didn't get a chance to respond. Sometimes, Instagram is how I respond the quickest. But so the person I've interacted them with in the past. So I've never made a trade with them. Haven't gotten the best feeling out of them. But he wrote, "Hi," and this is an adult man. This is not a kid. It's not a lady in the hobby or anything like that. Hi, checking in. If interest in the message I sent in MCP, which is my card post. So I responded back, yes, thanks for checking in, but I don't think we are going to get a deal done. And he wrote, can you elaborate why is that, please? Thought I was being fair. Asked for how much you were valuing it so I can up my offer a bit if necessary. Also asked, what's your best on Dirk in cash? So this card. And I put this card up for $200 on my card post for trade or sale. And again, because there's no eBay fees, I felt like I could put this up on eBay for 220, on my card post for 200. So this is when I was kind of getting like a little bit annoyed, but I mean, not super annoyed, but I don't like when people do the whole like, what's your best? Like, I have an offer. I mean, I have my sale price of 200. So just send me an offer, right? So I just wrote back, I don't deal with people who ask for my best. And I just wrote, we just transact differently. That's okay. Also, I read the above. I forgot all about all of that. And what I mean by above is, I'm not gonna put this person's name. I think I'm doing the nice thing of not putting this person's name on blast. But he was like, I want to collab with you and Slab Mania, and I want to send you a slab. And I was basically like, I don't know you. Like, it was very nice. They were like, I can collab with you and get a mention in your IG accounts. I get a lot of people asking me, can I get a shout out or a mention in your IG? If I like you, it's not even a money thing. Like, I do things for my friends in the hobby and I do things for kind folks. This person just cold responded. People do that to me all the time. Can I get a follow? Can I get a like? Can you repost this story? I tagged you in something. Why didn't you respond? Why aren't you responding to me? Why aren't you responding to me? And it's like, I'm just one person. I'm just one person. Um, so I just kind of said, like, I can't vouch for you. I have never met you. I've never made a deal with you. And I don't know her either. I don't know Slabmania. So then I said, what purpose do you want to grow your account? And they were like, bruh, forget about it. Don't go so deep. I just wanted to give out a Rodman slab to you and a Hutchinson slab to her for yours PCs. So I just wrote, if you can't go deep or answer a simple question, then yes, I think the right choice for me is to not collab. Sometimes it doesn't work out. So then he just wrote, LOL, I just want to grow my audience, followers, likes, so I can sell, trade more, not that complicated. And I wrote, this is nothing against your account, but you don't make any content. You just post pictures of your cards with the same background. And again, I'm not going to show you the background. I'm not going to show you his account because I feel like I'm doing the nice thing by not putting him on blast here, because I feel like this person maybe had good intentions, but I'm going to show you where it gets a little bit nastier. So, yeah, so I just wrote back, he writes, I know, I want more people to see my cards. I will be able to sell, trade more of them. And then I wrote, there's no story to what the cards mean. You just say if it's available or not. This is a genuine question, not sarcastic at all. Why should anyone care? I mean, that's what I ask a lot of people that. Like, there are people, clearly, they're just in the transaction side of the hobby. There's no content creation. There's no creativity. There's no feeling. You don't. Some people have Instagram accounts just to transact, and that's okay. But those are not the accounts that I want to help promote or uplift, because to them it's just money. It's none of the cards actually matter to them. It's just about the money, and to me that turns me off big time. So, so he just writes, "Okay, forget it," and then we get to the most recent messages about checking my messages on my card post and me declining the trade. So here's what happens. Okay. So he writes, he does the laugh emoji, the crying emoji, and then in response to me saying I don't deal with people who ask for my best, he says, so you deal with people who just buys off of your listed price? And I said something very simple. I've heard other people say it to me, and I've said it to other people, and it's a saying that's pretty prevalent, which is I'm not negotiating against myself. If you want, kind of basically saying if you want to make an offer, go ahead, but 200 is my ask. So he replied back, if you want, I can offer 180 cash offer for Dirk. Let me know. And then immediately after saying that, he says, and this is where it gets kind of ridiculous. If I buy for 200, would you ship, or would you be so greedy that you would cancel the order? Just wanted to know who am I dealing with? So I don't have the camera on me, like on my face, because I'm a single cam right now. But I wrote back, why would you think I would be willing to deal with someone who says something like that? At this point, why would I want to sell the card to you when you make these kinds of comments? I would rather sell it to someone for less than sell it to you at this point. Then he writes, LMAO, you take shit too seriously, dude. Made you an offer, but you, quote unquote, don't deal with people who ask for your best. And then I put it up on a story post. I said, hey, I got an offer on eBay. What did I write here? I got to click on this story. Got an offer 180 on it on eBay. If you can match it, it's yours. So I would rather sell it to someone else online. It didn't work. It wasn't a Instagram story sale. It was an eBay sale because the offer came at 200, like I mentioned to you earlier. Um, but this person writes, emoji. Let me know if you want to sell it to me. And then I just kind of pointed at the message above about like the disrespect. So then he does more crying, laughing emojis. So then I wrote even more reason. And then he writes, go sell it on eBay and get 140 just for being greedy. So I wrote back, you're really toxic. You wanted to be all nice when you thought you could make a deal with me, but when that fell through, instead of gracefully accepting that to be the reality, you got toxic real fast. And then he wrote a really long message. I don't want to read this whole thing, but basically it kind of rehashes things in the past about what's your best and the collab and all this stuff. So you can read it. You can pause it and read it if you want. I'm not going to read all of it. So I get down here and I just, respond with, I don't collab with people like that. So again, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but, basically asking him, what makes you different? Okay, that was my main question. Like, what makes you stand out? I mean, there's tons of transactional accounts on Instagram. So I'm not going to read all of that. But one thing I do want to read is uh, I don't do collabs just for money or free stuff. I have to actually care. It has to matter. That's the big difference. Okay, so and then I said, yeah, I do take shit too seriously sometimes. Hence this content being made. So he still wants the card. He keeps asking. He goes, let me know. And then bygones be bygones. At this point, I'm like, how do I know you won't do something nefarious like a chargeback, right? Saying you didn't receive the item even though you did. And I said, it's really hard to come back from what has been said. And then he says, check my legit post, ask for my references. And I won't get into this other stuff because it mentions his name. And then I go, um, and then he does a question mark. I hate the question mark. It's like there's a better ways to follow up with people than just one question mark. It's like a way of just not caring. So again, maybe that's a pet peeve of mine, but I didn't respond. So then hours later, did you check? Are you down to make a deal? Again, I'm gonna leave people like that on red. I don't have an obligation to respond to every single message I get just because someone is so insistent or so persistent, right? So again, this is my way of just saying, please understand that sometimes you have to take no for an answer. You can't just keep bulldozing your way through life, whether it's in the hobby or outside of the hobby, and force people to make trades, force people to sell cards to you. At a certain point, you just have to be okay with no. And also, as a seller, don't feel pressured to feel like you have to cave into someone's demands or pressures. Like, it's your cards. You're able to transact however you want. You can make content however you want. Like me, I don't have to be making this content, but I'm hoping that this helps the hobby. Like, I'm hoping that with reading some of this, you're like, you know what? I kind of do that sometimes. I should stop doing that. That's what I'm hoping happens. So then, just today, he wrote question mark, really interested in that Dirk. So then I just wrote back, thank you for your interest, but I have sold the card. And he saw it. It's just seen just now. He can leave me on red. It's fine. I don't want any more interactions with this individual. I could eventually block them, but I also don't want to be malicious or, like, this person hasn't shown that they're like a malicious actor. They're just very, very insistent, and when they really didn't need to be. Like, clearly, when I was like, I don't think it's really hard to come back from what has been said. Like, yeah, this card is not, there's 50 of them. It's a pop one as a PSA 9, but he can find this elsewhere. I don't know if he can find it readily today on eBay, but it's not like it's a one of one card. So I probably shouldn't have graded it. I see the corners now on the bottom right back. But anyway, that's a long-winded way of talking about these three cards. Again, this one was the biggest story. These two were pretty straightforward with very reasonable offers. If someone sends you a reasonable initial offer, sometimes it is better to just take it. That's my takeaway from these two cards. Because I did decline offers of the same price before, and I'm like, what am I doing? Waiting for the WNBA season? Like, just sell it for 75. And I could have sold it for 75 at a card show. I didn't, and that was my mistake. So eBay does take a cut out of this card as well. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to keep you in the loop with, again, my continued plan for the 5,000 cards. And I hope this helps you. Take care. Be well in the hobby.
Don't get it! Basketball!